Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, today I have David Tamm on the line, and he's CEO and founder of Pencerita. David, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, David, so excited to get into Pencerita and learn more about your mission. So just to get us kicked off, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all with our Mission Matters Minute. So, David, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. David, what mission matters to you?
Gosh, thanks for asking, Adam. So, at Pencerita, our mission was to give people a better way to tell their story, preserve their legacy, so they can be remembered how they want to be remembered and when they want to be remembered, right? So I think a lot of people can empathize that, you're getting kind of frustrated with the status quo regarding privacy, intentionality, and even like creative medium. So our mission was to give the world a free platform where you're back in control of your narrative. Right. So you can create content using video, music, art. We can transcribe voice if you don't have the use of your digits, right? And then allow you to collaborate with other people to tell your story, preserve your legacy. Or, hey, maybe you're just going to a ball game and hanging out with friends, but you don't want all that unsolicited negative feedback or advertisements you didn't ask for. So, Pencerita, our mission was to put users back in control of their narrative and their legacies through storytelling.
That's awesome. So starting kind of at the beginning here, like how did you come up with the idea? Like what's?
Yeah, it's a crazy story. So I think like a lot of people, that have seen their grandparents pass on. I was really close with my grandfather, and when I was serving in the military, I would come back to the States, on vacation and leave. And my last interaction with my grandfather, he was really struggling with some memory issues, and I kind of got the feeling that he didn't really know who I was, right? And so that crushed a little piece of me, but also opened up a doorway in my mind of, wow, how do I fix this? And then fast forward 3 or 4 years, I've been noodling on the concept, having founded multiple software companies. So I had the technical expertise of how to come up with, a potential solution. And then I literally fell asleep on a plane, coming home from a conference, and I woke up with the idea. I tell people God gave it to me, aliens. It was not my idea, but, I was just the vessel. And just started writing down, kind of the architecture of how it could be built, what some certain value propositions could be. And then, we've been now working on the platform for 3.5 years with 22 team members. So that's kind of the legacy of how it started.
Wow. And so tell us a little bit more about the platform and how you plan to add value.
No, great. Yeah. So what we've done is created a free platform, right? So an app. We also have the web app, Android, iOS. It's actually the app is currently on test flight right now that we're playing with in a beta state. And what it's going to allow you to do is tell stories, recount memories and moments of your past or that you're currently going through. And that's generally centered around major life events, right? So you have kids, you get a new job, somebody gets a diagnosis, you move across country. Maybe you're just taking a vacation. Right? And you want to preserve those memories in a way deeper, intentional manner than current solutions, right? And so you can come into the system, log in, and record videos, upload music, drag and drop text and art and pictures in a way that's not being done right now. And then we have a really cool piece of functionality where maybe you're not ready to share it right now. What you can do is create triggers so that content can then get shared at a later time, maybe even after you're gone. Right. So I'll give you an example. My wife and I, we're somewhat newlyweds, right? We just had our 2-year anniversary, and I'm already building.
Congratulations, first off. Congrats. That's awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah. She's incredible. We'll talk about her on another podcast. But and so I'm already creating content for our 10-year anniversary, right? Because I want to be able to look back and cherish those major events that, memories, they're volatile that I might lose. Right. So that's kind of the basic overview. And then we have some really cool collaborative features where, can you imagine if you could log into Facebook and actually create content and tell stories in tandem at that same time with other people on the other side of the world? Right. So we can do that now on Pencerita with our patent pending technology.
Wow. What kind of, I know you're in the development phase. What kind of response have you gotten from the beta so far?
Great question. So we actually did an initial alpha which is kind of that smell test. Is this even interesting to people? And we got overwhelmingly positive feedback. But there was a lot of need for features that, let's say, older folks would use, or that people that are not native English speakers would use. So now we're moving into a beta with 200 people, with different cohorts, right? So 55 and above, or newlyweds, to make sure that we're reaching them where they are. And so far, we're batting 100%. There seems to be a really big need right now for telling our story, preserving our legacy, just because, I kind of look at social media as a crash test experiment, Adam. We didn't really know what we were doing, and it has caused some negative impacts on society. So we're trying to make good on that. And through the beta feedback, building the features that people will actually use. So overwhelmingly good, but still going in very cautiously, if that makes sense.
So take me through the kind of like the user experience and how to use it. And I know it's still in development, but I'm just trying to get a feel for your vision of this. So take me through the user experience.
Totally. Yeah, we were actually just on the line with developers this morning. It's what we do every day. And so, when you log into the platform, you really want that warm hug to know, okay, this is where I'm getting started, and this is what other people are doing. So when you log into Pencerita, you've got a welcome screen. And what it's going to do is actually share with you some major life events or content that other users have created, but then elected to go public, right? Say, I'm willing to share this with the community. And so you can see, stories of happiness and victory in life, and so that you can get inspired, right, along your creative journey. And then right below that, you have the ability to either use one of our curated content paths, meaning we've actually had a professional writer come in and interview people that have gone through major life events. One of our first content paths was a gentleman who lost his father to Alzheimer's. So we interviewed him, and we wrote 20 questions that he wished he could have asked his father before he passed, right? So if you're not a super creative type, you can go in and select some major life events, and we've curated questions for you to answer using whatever type of media you would like, whether you just want to write a story, you want to take pictures, you want to upload art, you want to play some music. You can do all of that. Or you can just choose your own adventure. You can create from scratch. Like I'm doing one right now for my little corgi Lola of when we got her, and her as a little puppy, and then we've got pictures and music, and then I've got my wife in there, and then nobody gets to see it until I'm ready. And then I can create those rules of engagement of, show this to XYZ people at ABC date, or based off of world events and other triggers. Does all that make sense?
So absolutely. And so when I think about applications for this, whether you're, as you mentioned, a parent, newlywed, or just in general, it's kind of like documenting and creating a time capsule for your life overall, and sharing things as you choose to, as those events come up, whether it's a milestone or otherwise. Am I kind of off on that, or is that somewhat right?
No, you're right on. Why don't I'll give you some real world scenarios. So our beta testers, they're not just doing this in a vacuum. They're actually using this for their lives right now. So we've got one gentleman, we'll just go by first name. His name is Jim, and he just adopted a little baby boy. And it's just not appropriate to put all that information on Facebook, nor does he want that unsolicited feedback, And so what he's doing is creating content and telling stories about from day one adoption all the way up until, he's starting to, make little babbling noises and stuff, and it's beautiful. And so he can share all of that, with his son, if he so chooses, or even with birth mother, if she's ready and wants to know about the story, right? Another one is my grandmother, right? So she's getting in her older, up there in age, and all we have really is photo albums. And so we're starting to preserve, those memories, but then create proactive memories posthumously, right? So I've got little nieces and nephews that by the time they get married or graduate college, she's not going to be around. So we're creating content right now of, hey, congratulations on your big day, I love you, so that her father, can hand her a tablet on her special day years after grandma has been gone and say, hey, grandma has something to tell you. That's never really been done before. Yeah. And then we've got another one that's, it's a couple that's getting married, right? And their relatives, because of COVID, aren't able to actually travel to the location. So we're giving them Pencerita so they can be there with them like a Zoom call, but then also upload their content and kind of relive that event through other people's eyes anytime they want. Yeah.
Wow, what a great story, and I can see how there's just the value of this. And when we think about stories, I think this is definitely kind of I've seen people do maybe some legacy books and some other things in the past, and like you said originally, or just in general, how I remember just photo albums and things like that. And so this seems like I've seen grandparents, other things like that. So this seems kind of like the evolution. This is the new photo album. This is the new everything. This is something that when you think about as you transition through life and as others transition through life, it's one of those thoughtful things that can really make a difference in kind of making sure that your message and story is shared and passed down, right?
Yeah, that's really the goal and the hope is really just to make the world a better place through storytelling. It's if you don't get along with someone or you don't agree on a certain point, as long as we don't take it on face value, we actually get to understand the why behind their perspective and hear their story. Oftentimes that allows us to kind of meet in the middle, right? Reduce conflicts, create peace, and understand other cultures, right? Even across the state or across the country. And I think there's a lot of value there opposed to let's create something that's based off of, dopamine hits and likes. Let's really get a little bit deeper as a community. And I think the world needs that at this place. So thank you for saying that.
And so if I'm understanding this correctly at this point, or is the vision of this to be a B2C type of platform in general, so consumer driven, or is that with the content otherwise, or is there going to be a business component to this, like a B2B component for I could think of estate planners or things like that in general? I'm just curious on kind of the vision of what you see this going forward.
Gosh, that is a really good question, and a lot of the people don't ask that question. And so we definitely are going to be B2C, right? So the individuals, whether you're getting older and you want to preserve your legacy, or you're a newlywed and you want to start to be proactive about that, storytelling and relationship, because you never know, tomorrow's not guaranteed, right? And so for the B2B piece, it's going to be big because we're already talking to assisted living homes, orphanages, we're the children's hospital, right? Cancer ward in particular. Yes, absolutely B2B. In those capacities, estate planning, legal for sure. But I also, when we're talking about philanthropy, we're talking with several national organizations that are building homes for, disabled veterans that are helping with, the Salvation Army, all those other kinds of organizations. We have the ability to just give this to them for free, and imagine the therapeutic value when somebody that's going through something difficult can see all these other people that have made it through and how they made it through with the deep intentional storytelling behind it. I think there's real value there from a B2B perspective,
Absolutely, a huge amount of value. I see it very clearly. It's gonna be great. I mean, I wish you much more continued success with the project. And that being said, if somebody's listening to this, David, and they want to get involved, or they want to learn more, I mean, how do they do that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So if you want to just go to the website, it's Pencerita, PENCERITA.com. We've got to sign up for a newsletter that we're going to be sending out on a regular basis. We can cohort videos and system previews and that kind of stuff. And then we can also, if you just want to follow us, we have a Pencerita Facebook page and LinkedIn where we're posting regular content if you'd like to reach out.
That's awesome. And so in terms of as you kind of continue to grow the beta and otherwise, what are some of the ideas you've kicked around in terms of scaling it and user acquisition? What are some of the things that you think are going to happen in the future?
Yeah, awesome question. So we're actually we're building our go-to-market strategy with an individual that was the chief of staff of Starbucks, right? So we've got billion-dollar fingerprints on the go-to-market strategy with a lot of high-level influencers. We've got 10 to 15 influencers and celebrities that are going to be helping us launch it domestically, and then we've got a multitude of international trademarks because there's particular cultures where storytelling is really important, right? So like Mexico, Dia de los Muertos and your quinceañeras, it's we want to remember our elders, and it's typical for 3 or 4 generations to live under one roof, and so we're being very intentional about customizing the platform to make sure that the platform is meeting those consumers where they are, that is germane to their culture. So it's going to be a combined effort of domestic media efforts, influencers, and then internationalization through word of mouth.
Yeah, that's great. As it has to be, because what you're doing is big, and it's a big idea, and to break through and cut through the noise, even with a great big idea, like you got to do something special. So that's awesome, and glad that we could do our part over here to get your message out as well. That being said, one more time, I want that website again. And for the people listening, don't worry, we're going to put that in the show notes again, but I want people to go check this out. What's the website again?
Thanks so much, Adam. It's Pencerita.com, PencerITA.com.
Fantastic. And again, we'll put that all in the show notes. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time listening to a Mission Matters episode or engaging with our platform, we're all about bringing on entrepreneurs, executives, and experts and having them share their mission, the story behind why they do what they do, how they're doing it, and really what we can all learn from it together and how we can all benefit and grow from that information. If that's the type of content that sounds interesting or fun or exciting to you, hit that subscribe button, because we have many more mission-based individuals just like David coming up on the line, and we don't want you to miss a thing. David, once again, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Thanks again for coming on.
Adam, thanks for having me. I appreciate you, sir.